Welcome back. Right, so next stage of this whole project is to start measuring things, cleaning, seeing where we are, what we need to order, what's out of limits, etc. When I was taking the thing apart, the bike, there was some kind of reference to manuals, but I got kind of bored of it and did my own thing. But now it's all about the rebuild. Everything's got to be right from here on in. So I'm going to follow the manuals and some guidance, forums, even YouTube channels. It's been a good help as well. So I'm not going to be. I think things are going to be quite close to the service limit. It's done 80,000 kilometres. I think the bike was well looked after. It was part of a CX club at one point of its life, so it's been serviced all its life. So I'm hoping things should be okay generally. So first things, cylinders. So how I'm going to do it is get the diameter, which according to the book is 78.1 millimeters. So these are these guesstimeters. They're not most accurate, but I think it's good enough for me. At the end of the day, a service limit is, I mean, if the bike was running fine, compression was fine, it's not the end of the world if it's slightly out when it comes to things like reboring this, which is not what I want to do. So 78.1 is what I'm looking for, minimum. And try and get it square. Right, and I'm getting a 78.15 if I push it. It's very close, it's on the limit. Always zero it every time you've done one measurement. So 78.13, the limit's 78.10, and it's pretty lined up, and we've got the same there, same there. So we know we're close, so let's write that down. There's a medium, which is 78. What did I say? 1013. So, taking this cylinder measuring tool, I don't know if you can see this. Piece of wood. So get the angle a bit better. And give it a quick wipe. Clean up. Right, so cylinder measuring instrument. So we know that this is 78.13. 12 o'clock, so we put it in there, that position, not completely at the top, and we zero it on dial. We'll just give it a rock. And where the gauge goes the highest, so it's going to 1, that's where we want the 0, and then we lock it off at that point. Somewhere about there. Okay. Yeah. So we know now, well, it's 78.1. See, when we rock it, we can take 3 measurements. So I'll go in the middle, which is the same. 1 out actually, so it's 78.09, you could say, a push. And at the bottom there's a 2 there. Yes, actually I wasn't square. So I'm quite happy with that. It's all quite even. Can rock it back. So I'm happy with that. And same with this point. So there's your 0, which is pretty lined up. So I'm seeing a 3, 78.7, .8. That's 78.7 I'm getting. Not 7. So our original was, well, the limit is 78.1, and we were measuring 78.10 and 13. Let's say there's a bit of guesstimation in that, but it's borderline. But I would say it's in limits, just not to be reworked, so that's good. Same with the other side. Probably a good idea to do it again and see what results you get, and then take the average. I'm not in a rush, so I may as well. Always zero this, make sure it's clean. I did notice with this, I don't know if you can see, where are you? There. There is some damage there, so I'm going to have to dress that out, I think. And also, when I took the crank off, it does tell you to masking tape the splines, so you don't, when it kind of pops out, it doesn't drop this main oil bearing, the journal bearing, you call it. And It's only very slight, I mean it's nothing, but I'll try and replace that. Apart from that, it's looking pretty good. When I jammed my socket in, I did kind of put some nicks in the casing. There was nothing crazy. You see it there, a little kind of indentation there. It's just flattened the edge. It's okay. Next one, cylinder block camshaft bearing. So it's part of the block, this, which is, that's not going to work, is it? A little bit scored, but nothing to worry about. Just lock her off. And get it square. See what that is first. So the limit's 26.05, so I've got 26 and a half, 26.5 set. Here we go. So we want to come down to 20. Oh dear. There's the limit. Try again. This is 0, that's 26. Moving on, I've been thinking overnight. This block is very close to the service limits on one of these cylinders, I forget which one. It's right hand side, I think. There's a nick here from the camshaft bearing journal, I think it's termed. So that's basically worn, and it's just taken a bit of it's like a nick from this web casting. And it's just worn it away, basically. It's a bit of a fault, I would say, in the material. When it was fabric, it's not a fault, it's just the way it's cast. It's just taken away this. But the cam's alright, so it might be okay. But the fact is, this diameter is on the limits also. yeah, you know. So 80,000 kilometres, been serviced all its life. It could probably do, you know, another 20 easy without causing any problems, but will it last another 40 years? Probably not. So I'm gonna get a new block, I think. So I was looking into what that requires when you start changing paperwork wise, I mean, when it comes to registration. And in this country they don't care, as long as the frame number's the same as the paperwork, the engine doesn't have to match. But as long as it's the same part number, basically. Serial numbers, they don't care about. My home country, I think it's different. The engine and frame has to be on documented. And if you change one or the other, you have to obviously submit some paperwork with it. So, saying that, you can get one of these on eBay or wherever, fairly cheap. So that's what I'm gonna do, and hopefully the one that I get has a bit more life left in it. Shame, but there you go. That is basically, if anyone wants an engine block, there it is.